Welcome to the InflowCX webinar on what's new with Zoom Contact Center. We've got our great friends from Zoom here today, Derek Resler and Scott Brown. Very excited to dig into all the new updates with Zoom Contact Center. Just so you know, we do have other webinars here at InflowCX. We've got some upcoming ones on the screen there. Feel free to message us afterwards if you need any more detail or check out our website. Before we dive in today, I want to go through a quick agenda. I'll spend very small amount of time talking about InflowCX and a couple of market insights, and I'll pass it over to the Zoom team for talking about what's new with Zoom, where are they going from a contact center perspective. Should have plenty of time for Q&A. We've got people monitoring the Q&A, so feel free to type away in there or save questions for the end. Without further ado, we'll jump in. So if you're not familiar with InflowCX, we're an innovative provider of advisory, deployment, and managed services for all things contact center, customer experience, and unified communications. We help organizations really evaluate where they're at today, what their customer engagement and employee experience strategy is, help them evaluate new ways to think about things from a technology, from a people, and from a process perspective. And we don't stop there. We help actually deploy technology and help optimize that technology so you are set up for success. We've got great partners like Zoom, but we are industry agnostic and can work with a lot of other different vendors out there as well. We've got a lot of different customers and a lot of different verticals because we're so laser focused on our CX and customer experience overall strategy. We can apply that to a lot of different businesses. So whether you're in tech or hospitality or real estate or insurance or healthcare, it's very likely you've got a customer that has a lot of your same goals and commonalities and have helped them before. And last but certainly not least, there's a lot of ways to think about this whole ecosystem. It's giant, but we've got a sampling here of just some of our technology partners from a CCaaS, a CX ecosystem, and a UCaaS perspective. And you'll notice very few are on there twice, but few of those, we've got one-on-one here today, our great friends from Zoom. So without further ado, I'll pass it over to Derek and Scott to walk us through what's new with Zoom Contact Center.
All right, thank you very much, Austin, and very excited to be here with each and one of you out there. Really appreciate you giving us the next 20, 25 minutes of your day. And one of the things that Scott and I want to do is make sure it's as the most value as possible. And where we get that is from the questions. So just like Austin said, feel free to put a question in there. Question you've always wanted to ask Zoom, especially regarding the contact center space. Please put it in there. It's always those who actually ask questions, engage, or those who get the most out of these experiences. So really appreciate Austin, the Inflow team. They've been a fantastic partners of ours for many years. And so we've been able to work together, really help out each of you and others like you with their communication needs. So in this case, it's about contact center. It's about customer experience. It's about what we're doing. And for a lot of times, a lot of people out there, many of you probably didn't even know we even had contact center or we were in contact center. We've been doing contact center for almost a year now, providing great solutions, great features to really assist people just like you in your organizations. Austin was saying, we're going to handle a lot of things. The first thing, obviously, is market insights. We want to make sure that each of you really understand what is out there, what the industry is saying, and then I'm going to kick it over to Scott to really address the challenges because he's the true subject matter expert when it comes to the CX space here at Zoom. So a few things. Number one, huge deal. 73% of business leaders are saying that the customer experience is critical. This isn't new news for us. I'm actually surprised it's not more than 73%, but it's a hefty one. There's no reason why you're on this call today. Second one, more than half of consumers would switch to a competitor just after 2 negative experiences. And some of you probably have seen this. I know we at Zoom have seen this as well in the last few years, that customer experience and customer happiness is critical. And for Zoom, it's been mission critical for the last few years. I want to make sure that people don't move off. They give us that second chance. We can help solve their challenges. And of course, last one is all around AI and conversational AI. And how can you as a customer do more with less, engage more with your customers, and less with handling some of the challenges that might come with staffing, overstaffing certain time periods, and making sure they're getting the right information, the right time, in a timely manner, and making sure that it's around the clock care, and all the ways in which your customers engage with you. We want to make sure that there is some sort of AI there to augment what you are currently doing to really help you be dynamic in this space. So on that, Scott, share with us a little bit about the three biggest challenges that you've seen in this space. You've been in this space for a long time, and kind of give us some good stories around some of these items.
Yeah, Derek, happy to. And again, I just want to weigh in and thank Austin and the InflowCX team for the opportunity to share a little bit this afternoon. And also thanks for those of you that are attending. As Derek said, certainly happy to engage and also answer questions directly either via voice or in the chat as we continue on. But Derek, as you said, when you look at what the three kind of partitions of goodness are inside of a contact center or a call center or a customer service organization, it's really the customer first. It's always the agent experience and then the business outcomes. And I think one of the things that became incredibly prevalent, at least over the course of the past, I'll just say 30 months, was that we as consumers became much more demanding about what our experience was as a customer. And really, we're looking for a couple of different things, right? We're looking for, recognize me as a human being, right? And personalize my experience when I need to reach out and ask for support or if I have a query about a product. Number two, understand my relationship with you. Am I a new customer? Am I a prospect? Am I an employee? What have I done previously? And then number three, and probably the most important piece is based upon, knowing me and knowing my journey with you, try to resolve my issue, challenge, or problem in the most expedient way possible, right? And that may mean, transferring me to, a support queue, a subject matter expert, or maybe even somebody in finance, right? One of the other things that, has become, evident is that contact centers are no longer, physical structures. I mean, I would argue that any human being within an enterprise, should or could be a contact center agent if in fact they're trying to resolve a problem. The second is agent experience. And, as we all know, I mean, agents, the life of an agent is hard, right? I mean, it's multiple applications. You have, different screens you're trying to navigate. You're trying to seek information and all at the same time trying to make sure your customer experience is high. And because of that, we're seeing a blending of what I would consider to be a customer experience and an agent experience, and using that same kind of mentality of how we can actually drive resolution in a short amount of time. And that may be things like, next best action is oftentimes an overused contact center term, but think of it in a way where I can leverage captive intelligence within my environment and surface that, real time to an agent or to a customer to make sure that we're driving to closure. And then probably, the most exciting thing, I think anyway, having been in the space, as you said, for, decades, is contact centers, again, are no longer viewed as, what I would consider to be a cost center, kind of to use an old antiquated term. They are really the ambassadors of the brand. And because of that, direct business outcomes have been tied to the performance of contact centers, whether that's in the guise of NSAT or overall NPS or CSAT. And there are quantifiable and tangible business outcomes for providing a world-class customer experience.
Which I find very fascinating. A few things that you said there. Number one, almost like an agentless environment, that you have people that are non-traditional contact center people engaging with customers, solving problems, right? And now they're considered an agent. So obviously the ability to leverage technology to reach the outcomes that you're looking for is going to be incredibly pivotal. And I really hope each of you out there really heard that, is that the idea that technology should drive your customer experience, should be one of the biggest, in a way, profit centers for your business, because you're proactively almost reaching out and solving issues with customers. And I think that goes into our next session here, Scott, which is what's new with Zoom. One of the things I've always been impressed with Zoom is the fact that the customer feedback and customer really focuses our innovation. And so when we go and innovate new products, new features, it's really because of customers just like each of you telling Zoom, hey, look, I would love to have this on your platform. And this is really where contact center came from when it comes to Zoom. It really came from people just like yourself going, hey, look, I already use Zoom internally. It's a great solution. I would love it if I could simply add the contact center piece into what I already have. And that'll allow for my technology to connect all the subject matter experts that I need in order to handle the challenges that my customers are having. And so Zoom Listen and Zoom actually put together, it's our own contact center that resides on our own same platform. That means each one of you out there, if you have Zoom deployed anywhere, a free version of Zoom, you've actually deployed Zoom Contact Center as well. It just the license hasn't been applied. And so we're seeing a lot of adoption and a lot of excitement around that. The idea that it's already out there. We already are turning on people from basic users to being an agent. And then sometimes during the day that they're not an agent anymore, they're back to their normal work, but they can toggle in and out of these experiences easily within a single application. And so Zoom Listen and Zoom Heard, Zoom developed and has created this amazing contact center piece. And so I'm going to kick it over to you, Scott. Really share the vision of our contact center and kind of highlight some of the big key areas that we're investing in going forward.
Yeah, most certainly. And Derek, as you said, I mean, this was driven, what I'll call by an incredibly high demand from our customers. And what they were asking for was they were asking for an experience that they found akin to a Zoom meeting. Right, kind of the ubiquitous, hey, I can join a Zoom meeting. Most folks I know can join a Zoom meeting. Generations can join a Zoom meeting. And there's really not any delineation, and there's not a lot of heavy technical lift to do so. And so that's kind of the vision that we're pursuing, is how do we replicate that elegant simplicity inside of a contact center experience, whether it's on the customer side or the agent side? Because historically, it's been kind of complex, right? Kind of complex, kind of clunky, lots of parts. And that is, what we're striving to do. The second piece is, really the differentiation, and you spoke to this, Derek, about the blending or kind of the crossing over of a traditional unified communications or UCaaS experience and a contact center or CCaaS experience, and having those two things really exist as just one. And again, for a lot of reasons, customers were asking for this. They didn't want to have, either data or communication silos or partitions that just slowed down progress in terms of serving customers or serving employees. And so having everything consolidated in a single experience, again, does drive that simplicity. And then, similar to what we've experienced in some of the other Zoom, products, is really the fast innovation, right? How do we listen to our customers and innovate really, really quickly and make sure that we're, providing all of the capabilities and technology that they need, in a way that I would argue is incredibly agile and incredibly momentum filled. But just again, kind of speaking at a high level, when we think about where we're going and what we hope to accomplish, one is that complete end-to-end journey, and I spoke to that kind of early on about how do you actually understand a human being when they reach out to you, regardless of whether it's a chat or a phone call or an IVR experience, and then really completing that customer journey. And I would argue that a customer journey is never an isolated event, right? It's actually a building block towards an overall customer relationship. And that's really key here, is understanding the lifetime value of that customer and the history of that customer. We will always maintain an open and integration-filled ecosystem. We have lots of partners that we will continue to work with around the world, so that's not going to change. The unified agent experience, again, is that unification of a CCaaS and a UCaaS traditional client experience, just governed and administered under one single client. We are really focusing again on that simplicity of low code or no code experiences, so we can set up really, really thoughtful and demonstrable evidence around what is a self-service experience and how can I get one out there that's meaningful and do so in a quick time. And then from an upskilling and coaching, again, the focus on the agent. How can we make the agent's experience that much more meaningful, that much more productive, and really take maybe some of those rudimentary tasks that they're used to handling and push those into a self-service environment. And by the way, also making sure they're equipped to handle the more complex situations.
Awesome. And on that, I had a question come in from Adam that I wanted to get to, and I really appreciate the question, Adam. He's asking questions around cost structure, right? And so you had mentioned disruptive, Scott. How is Zoom, to get to his question? We're roughly around 30% less than most people out there out of the gate, if not, up to 50% less. Is that part of our strategy to be disruptive?
Yeah, it absolutely is. And when we went to market, like most products, we did a pretty extensive pricing sensitivity test, and our goal was, how do we actually hit the market in an agile fashion at about, I'll call it 40% of what the market would be typically in terms of a cost structure. So, when we have our published price of $69 per agent, that is our published price, and that, from based upon the sensitivity analysis that we did was, it was a relatively decent cost savings over other contact center partners out there. But one in which we wanted to make sure that was compelling enough to get folks interested. But again, I didn't also want to make sure that they weren't sensing a less valuable experience because of the price. So it's both feature rich and also economical in price.
Yeah, when you look at, Adam, to your question, I hope everyone else kind of probably had a similar one. I mean, all these enhancements, Scott's on this screen, all these features that are a part of it. I would say, I'm looking right now, I would say 99%, almost 100% are in that $69 piece. And so you're seeing a huge disruption in the idea that no longer is cost going to be a barrier for you, the customer, to get the technology you need to be successful. That's where Zoom's always been disruptive. Is, hey, look, how about we give you the power, customer, give you the features, help you be successful, and we'll really work on that numbers and what it looks like on the back end. But I'm going to kind of step out again and let you kind of take it from here, Scott.
No, it's a great segue, because you're right. I mean, since we've launched, and we did launch at Enterprise Connect last year, so we've been in market almost a year. And during that time, credit to the product management and engineering teams that have put together, over 400 features and capabilities that we've added since launch. And to give you just kind of an idea, we just kind of closed up on our fiscal year, and we were kind of recapping the progress that was made, and we have over 350 customers that we've signed in year one on contact center. We've have a really good kind of delineation between segments and sectors. It's about 51% what we would consider enterprise or upmarket, and about 49% SMB and commercial. So we have a good split there. And we're just going to keep innovating and just going to keep moving quickly.
Yeah, and I think, and just please continue to ask questions. And that's really where we're going. I mean, innovation is key here. The last earnings call we mentioned, we had over $5.2 billion in cash. We're a cash flow positive company. So not only have we able to fund what we've done so far, we're going to be able to easily fund our vision going forward. And so why don't we talk about that going forward piece? Many out there right now watching and listening to this might be, hey, look, some of the stuff I saw maybe we already have, or some of the stuff I saw is kind of more traditional stuff. What's Zoom doing to really disrupt this space and be exciting? So why don't you share some of what's coming down the road a little bit for us?
Yeah, I definitely will. Again, leveraging the Zoom infrastructure and kind of the global reach that we have. When we launched Contact Center, the vision was, how do we actually enable customers to take advantage of a cloud-first video as a first-class citizen workload inside of a contact center in a way that we were also embracing partners, and we also had the opportunity to continue to innovate. And the strategy is, Derek, continue to leverage and work with partners wherever we can around the world, and that's going to be kind of our first pillar. The second is making sure that the platform is open, but that open can mean a lot of different things, right? So we want to make sure that we have a viable marketplace offer, so where we can actually offer some of our partner capabilities inside the context of a single Zoom transaction. So more to come on that. APIs and SDKs to make sure that we have a robust capability, so that those that do consider themselves maybe a builder culture, that they can certainly do so, leveraging those technologies. And then again, as I said, it's all based upon the goodness of a single platform. So whether it's meetings or team chat, phone, contact center, virtual agent, and we'll continue to launch more things. It really is a true unified single experience and true client experience, one administrative capability, one place to manage and monitor. Now that said, I'm also very cognizant of the fact that but that doesn't mean that you have to use all of that from Zoom. I mean, it's there. It's there if you want to. If you have another capability or technology, we will certainly make sure that we work along with them as well.
Awesome.
And then really the virtual agent capability, and this was actually launched at WinGA a few weeks back. This was based upon an acquisition that Zoom made in May called Solvvy. And Solvy's claim to fame was really, promoting self-service capabilities inside the context of, consuming large amounts of data to be able to establish really good machine learning models around. And it is based upon a question and answer theory that they had, perfected. I'd say perfected. And so now this is available today inside the context of the Zoom family of capabilities called the Zoom Virtual Agent. But the whole goal is, again, to provide a low-code way for organizations to enable a self-service experience, number one. And number two, not have to recreate all of the data, right? Because if you think about all of the data that we have around, as an enterprise, whether it's in a knowledge management system or learning management system, KB articles, help desk, SharePoint sites, take advantage of that captive intelligence and structure it in such a way where you can enable that self-service experience. But then in the event you can't, make sure that you get that experience to an agent right away, whether it's a chat, whether it's a phone call, or whether it's a video experience, keeping all of the context with you. So you're not putting that customer or that employee in a position where they have to start over again. And so that really is part of the vision that we're moving down. And then the second is, as I said, not all contact centers are physical locations, and I would say that hybrid is here to stay, and we all kind of define what hybrid may be a little bit uniquely or a little bit differently. But agents will still be remote in some cases, as will employees still be remote in some cases. And so we wanted to make sure that we were including multiple ways to engage with a contact center. And so we announced our kiosk capability about 2 months ago, and this is the experience. Think of it as you're walking into a reception area, and there may not be a real person there to help you, but yet you can actually instantiate a kiosk touch experience and get right into what I'll call a contact center or a call center experience with live video to make sure that you're signing in and that the person that you're there to meet is available, et cetera. And that that could be a retail setting, or that could also be a hybrid mode. So you have both a retail as well as an AI infused kiosk experience on site at a location. So lots more there, and customers have found that incredibly interesting to work with. And then the other piece that we always want to make sure that we're keeping top of mind, lots of conversations about artificial intelligence, and chat GPT is getting a lot of press. And the whole goal though is when we think about an AI experience, it's not an isolated experience, number one. Number two, there will be experiences where we actually will pair a human plus an AI capability together to better serve that customer, better serve that employee. So, again, I think the lines of delineation are blurred, and rightfully so, because you have a self-service capability. If you're unable to resolve that, you can go directly to a human engaged experience that takes advantage of that foundational AI, again, to resolve it. And Derek, that could be, in a multitude of different ways. Like I said, it could be a chat, could be a email experience, could be phone, video, et cetera.
Perfect. And we did have a question come in, actually a few questions from Valerie. Again, appreciate the questions, Valerie, and staying engaged with us. Regarding integrations, now she has a request for NetSuite. So why don't you answer the NetSuite, and then why don't you expand that into a little bit of what we're doing in kind of that CRM world?
Yeah, definitely. I'll start by saying that the integrations that we launched with, we focused really on what I would consider to be the customer priority and how they kind of wanted us to go. And the first was on the CRM experience. So when we launched, we had Salesforce and Zendesk and ServiceNow. ITSM was kind of the second tier. So we're working on that now again with Zendesk and ServiceNow and others. The third piece was many customers had an existing workforce management or workforce optimization incumbent technology, which is great. So we do have integrations with Assembly and Calabrio and Verint, and working on others. And then I'll say the final thing, Derek, is how do we actually provide API level integration into things like NetSuite. And so that is an area as well where we do have precedent in doing so. And so we can I'd be happy to have a longer conversation about that one. But the goal is, to enable, as many integrations as we can in a seamless way that does take advantage of a framework of APIs to make it, I'll call it simplistic in nature.
Yeah, and I think, and Valerie, again, thanks for that question. It comes down to the nice thing with the APIs is it allows us to really customize what you're looking to get out of that integration experience. And your flavor might be a little bit different than someone else's flavor. And so we've done a lot of development into that, making sure that we're working with each customer we have. The next one, sticking with Valerie. when it comes more of a specific question regarding some transcription services, if you want to answer like, do we have that? If so, what elements do we have in that transcription kind of element in the call center? Since we do we're into so many different channels, right? Yeah. Of engagement. So why don't you answer that, Scott?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So, Valerie, if you think about a Zoom meeting experience, kind of the one we have here right now, and the ability to have a transcription service, live with the service, as well as even a language specification inside the context of a Zoom meeting, that experience then will carry over into the contact center. So, we're focusing right now on what does a transcription look like, both real time as well as post call. And then the other piece is, kind of layered onto that, and more to come in terms of, kind of a futures looking forward. But, now that we have that capability, how does the sentiment analysis actually factor into that? And how can we use either customer or agent sentiment to either route a call or help, provide a next step or a next action? Both of those are, we have the capability today, and then it'll get even more interesting when the sentiment analysis layers on. And that for us, Derek, is in the next 90 days.
Perfect. And I got another question from Sam on, is this an all-in? Like you have to go all in on Zoom in order to get contact center, or is there anything standalone if they've got different deployments already in place? Is it an all or nothing, or is it something that they can kind of acquire and then kind of slowly over time maybe add other pieces?
Yeah. Hey, so Sam, love that question. Thank you a ton. No, it is not a rip and replace. And again, shouldn't hear anybody advocate for a rip and replace of technologies. The way we view it is, number one, most organizations have, a contact center already. So this may be a supplement or a complement to very specific use cases. So again, if you have an incumbent, we can certainly work alongside whomever you have and make sure that you have a seamless agent experience. One of the ones that we have oftentimes is, if you think about, I'll just say help desk or maybe employee onboarding, where there is a critical need oftentimes for, video to be able to, observe somebody's desktop and maybe even take over if you need to. That may be a complement to an existing deployment, as an example. And then from a prerequisite, no, you don't have to be a Zoom customer to take advantage of Contact Center. And that's kind of one of the benefits, is that we are a standalone entity. And certainly while we can take advantage of the global, goodness of Zoom, we're not bound to the rest of the stack from a licensing or transaction perspective.
Yeah, and to add to that, Sam, and everyone else who might have had that question, even our Zoom virtual agent solution, that piece that Scott talked about, augmenting that conversational AI and those experiences actually can be used standalone as well. Even outside of the Zoom Contact Center, can be used to help augment anything else that you might already have deployed. If you're looking for a better way to handle, from what the numbers I've seen, that type of technology can handle up to 50% of common, requests coming in through these web chats, being able to handle that in an automated way 24/7. You don't have to, pay someone or benefit someone throughout the night and everything else. That is actually handling 40 to 50% of that inbound traffic in a way that's actually very engaging to the customer, something that they're actually looking for, quick responses and things like that. So I know we're here at the end, and I wanted to give a definite plug to Inflow here. So anything that you heard or saw on any slide, or any story that maybe connected with you that Scott shared, the best avenue is to really reach out to Inflow. Inflow is actually a very strategic partner of ours, to the point where they actually are really integrated with us to help us build out some of our features that we're coming to market with. So they're really tightly connected to them. So InflowCX really is the Zoom contact center experts that you really want to be engaging. And so I will kind of kick it back over to Austin to kind of wrap us up here, but wanted to make sure that is really the best motion. If you want to get more information, maybe see something that you heard on here and you want to see it live yourself, I'll let Austin kind of follow up on kind of the best route to do that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Derek and Scott. Really appreciate the time today. And you guys come up with so many new features, functionality, and use cases. It's hard for even me to catch up, and we're experts in this space. So thank you so much. And yeah, for any of those out there who want more information, want slides, want to just have a conversation about your scenario and how Zoom Contact Center may be a fit for you, please feel free to reach out to InflowCX. We've got our website contact us page that you can find us at. You can also call us at 844-446-3569 or send us an email at contact@inflowcx.com. Really enjoyed today's session, Zoom team. Thank you once again.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye-bye.